What is going on, guys? It is Cabal Culture Smasher here, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we have some more Harry Potter the series news. A few weeks ago, I was covering on the show how it was made official that Professor Snape will be getting played by a black actor named Papa Essiedu, the most worst, probably woke casting that we've seen in recent years of a pre-established character, taking a character that was explicitly described in the Harry Potter novels as being white, and a man who was ugly and sallow-skinned and has greasy black hair has now been cast as a black man. For reasons that, I don't know, probably got something to do with the fact that there's a scene where Snape gets strung up, and therefore, by having a black actor play the character, you can make a racial allegory there, make it heavy and ham-fisted, I don't know. But we haven't heard much about what J.K. Rowling has had to say about the casting of the show. And that is weird, right? Because this is her brand. It's not like George Lucas, where he sold the rights to Star Wars to Disney, and now Disney can do whatever they want with it, and George Lucas doesn't have any say. No. This is J.K. Rowling, somebody who owns the intellectual property rights to Harry Potter, right? This is her IP. Now, as far as the filmmaking rights go, we know that in the original films, she was very, very heavy in terms of what she chose to do with the casting of that movie. And one of the major rules she made was only British actors allowed. She did not want any American actors playing any of the characters. And this series thus far has already broken that rule, because you have John Lithgow having just been cast as Dumbledore, an American actor, a good one, by the way, but not a British actor like what was expected and required of the original films, right? And that's not something to really be too concerned about. If they can do a British accent, I don't really see a problem with that. The problem is when you're taking the look and appearance of the pre-established characters and completely changing them, right? In this case, Professor Snape, as we all know. Now, the internet was giving a lot of backlash to it, but like I said, Rowling herself has managed to remain otherwise totally quiet on the matter. Now, what's interesting about J.K. Rowling is we know that she is very far on the left, all right? She is not a conservative woman by any standards. She is very far on the left. However, when it comes to stuff about trans people and men in women's sports and men in women's locker rooms and bathrooms violating their private spaces, she has been very vocal and against that, and she actually applauds President Donald Trump in regards to signing, the executive order to protect men and women's sports. So she's all for that. But it seems that as far as race swapping a character goes, she really couldn't care less. Because in the Broadway play, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the playwright had to get permission from J.K. Rowling to sign off on making of the play. J.K. Rowling didn't actually make the play herself, but she had to approve it. And Hermione, if you guys know anything about that show, was cast with a black actress during the Broadway run, and J.K. Rowling allowed it. So that tells you everything you need to know. That yes, she is on the left. She doesn't care about race swapping. She won't allow stuff like men and women's sports. So I guess she has a line, but she's obviously not very caring about her own changing of the IP herself, right? And if you guys remember, Dumbledore was also retconned to be a gay man in the more recent adaptations of the story, such as Fantastic Beasts, and J.K. Rowling was the forefront of that. So it is weird that she had not much to say about race swapping until now. She didn't say anything when he was cast, but now she has something to say. As far as what her statement says here that I'm about to share, she may not have anything to do with the casting of the show. So maybe she either lets them do their own thing and she doesn't care, or maybe someone's actually controlling the casting and keeping it away from her. Although I find that very hard to believe because she owns the rights. But anyway, let's check it out. J.K. Rowling responded to rumors that she would fire Papa Essiedu from HBO's Harry Potter TV series. At this point, you're very well aware that the series itself has become a hotbed of discourse and criticism because the author has spent the majority of her post-Harry Potter career spending time and money essentially pushing back against the mere notion of trans rights. No. She's pushing back against men and women's sports, you woke. The backlash has also reached those who have been announced as the show's cast, to varying degrees. This past week, Papa Essiedu, who as of this moment is booked to portray Severus Snape in the series, was one of many British actors who signed an open letter supporting trans rights in response to the British Supreme Court ruling. If you guys aren't aware, the British Supreme Court ruling effectively recognizes basic biological sex, men and women. And that's interesting because the UK literally throws its people in jail for free speech against migration, but I guess they draw the line even at trans people themselves, just like J.K. Rowling does. On Sunday, J.K. Rowling seemingly took an aim at those who signed the petition on Twitter. Quote, "Some argue that signatories of these sorts of letters are motivated by fear. Fear for their careers, of course, but also fear of their co-religionists, who include angry, narcissistic men who threaten and sometimes enact violence on non-believers, backstabbing colleagues ever ready to report wrong things," she said in a very long statement. Maybe that has something to do with Islam, but she probably didn't want to get arrested for saying that. I don't know. Obviously, everything that's going on here would cause any passive observer to consider the possibility that, one way or another, Papa isn't probably long for the Harry Potter world. But this morning, J.K. Rowling took to Twitter to confirm that if he does exit the show, it would not be because of her. Quote, "I don't have the power to sack an actor from the series, and I wouldn't exercise it if I did. I don't believe in taking away people's jobs or livelihoods because they hold legally protected beliefs that differ from mine." So like I said, that's an interesting tweet because it shows she basically has nothing to do with the casting of the show. Although she's not really that opposed to a black guy in the show. It just seems like she's more responding to the controversy surrounding people up in arms over the casting of the show. I don't know why. You would think that HBO would, have a heavier hand, making sure that their own playwright has something to do with the series. So maybe, like I said, just like the Harry Potter Cursed Child play, maybe she just signed off on the rights, let them do their own thing. I honestly don't know. Maybe they're pushing her out of her own IP. I don't know. But it's so interesting that she has little to do with this. I don't know why that is. How is it that she just is letting her IP basically be taken over this way? Why does she not have more of a say? It's her own IP. She says, "I don't have the power to sack an actor from the series." What do you mean you don't have the power? You own the rights. You can do whatever you want. But anyway, guys, let me know of your thoughts. Are you guys going to watch the HBO Harry Potter series when it releases? I probably will here, just so I can react to it on the channel, give my honest feedback. This race swap casting, it's such a bad way to start out this new series. They had the chance here to really tell a faithful, true-to-life adaptation of the novel, bringing in a lot of stuff that had to be cut from the films because of runtime. They could really go in depth here and tell stories that they never quite were able to do beforehand. And instead, they squandered it, right? This race swap casting, it shows you that they don't actually care about the source material enough. Because now you're just alienating people that are diehard fans. The diehard fans, there's already people that don't want to watch this. That's not a great way to start off any series. Had they done it right, this could literally be another Game of Thrones. It could be on the level of something like The Mandalorian in terms of how successful it is commercially. Instead, just like everything else, Hollywood always finds a way to destroy it and mess things up, as they always do, because Warner Brothers are one of the stupidest companies, only next to Disney. But anyway, guys, that was the video. Let me know of your guys' thoughts. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I will see you guys in the next one.